So if the Earth's magnetic fields flip, or if they pretty much vanish, could that create a scenario of zombies, like the Walking Dead TV series, kind of? Because not only can we find scriptures that describe zombies in the Bible, very interesting, but also when we look at the data of animals as an example, like when animals, their migration patterns change because the magnetic fields change, like there's a direct connection with our brain and the sun. And there's that protective barrier between our brain and the sun called the magnetic field. So if that collapses or reverses, will certain people be susceptible to becoming a zombie? A few other articles I wanted to just share with you real quick, which I think are very important. This is from Watcher.guru. As BRICS de-dollarization mission continues in 2024, investment management company BlackRock has issued a major warning about the US dollar. The company is warning investors with cash in reserve to start moving some into bonds. And a lot of people are moving their money into gold and silver, and platinum precious metals. Gold is hot. It's gone up about 80% in 5 years, about 20% just the past 12 months. Gold, get some. Noble Gold Investments, 1-877-646-5347. Let them know Rex from Leak Project sent you. If you start an account with Noble Gold Investments, if you qualify, they will gift you a 1/4 ounce gold coin to add to your collection. That's nice for anybody's collection. You can also get great deals on gold, silver, platinum, and other precious metals through Noble Gold Investments. You can even convert into crypto. So if you've got a 401 or an IRA, give them a call. Find out how to qualify for that gold coin and convert. Also, go to leapprojectgold.com and noblegoldinvestments.com and click links for the free ebooks that they will give you that will help you get out of the rat race. You'll thank me later on that. And banks are literally usurping tons of gold. Somebody made a comment the other day and said, Rex, you're exaggerating. No, I'm not. Listen to this. February of 2024, the People's Bank of China was the largest buyer of gold, increasing its reserves by 12 tons. 12 tons. That means 2,257 tons approximately. This was the 16th consecutive month of growth for the PBOC's gold reserves, which are around 4% of its total reserves. Wow. Here's another article. National Bank of Kazakhstan increased its reserves by 6 tons, bringing its total holdings to over 306 tons. Reserve Bank of India increased its reserves by 6 tons, bringing its total holdings to 817 tons. Central banks around the world have been buying more gold to diversify their reserves and reduce their reliance on the US dollar. China, in particular, has been buying gold for 17 months in a row to protect against currency depreciation and geopolitical risks. Business Insider, the U.S. will see a recession by year end that could spark a 30% drop in the stock market, legendary forecaster Gary Schilling says. And let's get back to this presentation because zombies in the Bible is even cooler than zombies on TV. Zombies, the zombie apocalypse. I don't know. I mean, there are, if you read the fine print, certain corporations that describe what would happen in case of a zombie apocalypse. Very interesting. I mean, it already seems like the zombie apocalypse is happening, but I don't go outside and worry about face eaters yet. Like, could you imagine? Wouldn't that be wild if people's brains went so crazy because the magnetic fields were gone that they just started, like, I don't know. Be very bizarre. Let me share with you some articles and some scriptures that talk exactly about zombies and animals acting crazy. Did you see the most recent film that came out describing an apocalyptic event called Leave the World Behind? In the film Leave the World Behind, there are scenes that depict these deer just acting bizarre, like zombie deer almost. And if you watch the whole film, it kind of leaves you guessing. It gears that more towards Havana syndrome type stuff being played out because there's these loud noises in the film that freak everybody out. They have to like cover their ears. Some people's teeth start falling out and stuff. It gets really weird. And at first, it sounds like something coming from space, but more along the lines of a natural disaster kind of thing. But then you're questioning, is this some type of technology that's being used to create these loud noises? Is there a technology that's being used that will turn people into zombies and make animals lose their cognitive abilities where they just go and act crazy? Or is it because the Earth's magnetic fields are about to reverse? They're weakening. The sun's magnetic fields are reversing this year. Major solar activity this year. Not only do we have major solar activity, but the magnetic fields are weaker. The sun appears more intense now and brighter because the magnetic fields are weaker. At nighttime, you can watch the sun as it settles, the sunset, and it does appear to be more of an orange color. It doesn't seem so intense because you have more of a protective barrier from the atmosphere blocking that intense radiation. If there's none of that there, that could be what some of our ancestors experienced and wrote about and etched in stone with specific petroglyphs, like the Squatter Man petroglyph, and many others that you can duplicate with exuberant amounts of plasma in a laboratory. So are we getting ready to see something unprecedented with these magnetic fields weakening? First article I want to share with you is from New Scientist. Has Earth's shifting north magnetic pole affected migrating animals? Earth's north magnetic pole is moving from Canada towards Siberia. Has there been a noticeable effect on migrating animals that sense the geomagnetic field as a navigation aid? Well, for many animals that use magnetic fields for long migrations, they might be using it only to detect deviations from their planned route. It has been proposed that migratory birds, for example, have at least 3 different compasses at their disposal. One allows them to extract information from the position of the sun in the sky. Another uses patterns of the stars. As of April 2024, the sun's magnetic poles are expected to flip between April and August. The sun's poles reverse every 11 years, and the process is more frequent and easier to predict than the Earth's poles, which flip every approximate hundreds of thousands of years. During a reversal, the sun's polar magnetic fields weaken to 0 and then reemerge with the opposite polarity. For example, the North Pole becomes the South Pole and vice versa. Now, in the past 200 years, Earth's magnetic fields have weakened approximately 9% on a global average. Some people cite this as evidence of a pole reversal as imminent, but scientists at NASA say there's no reason to believe so. Flip-flop variations, let's talk about it. What do you think? What do you see? Well, there is a great article to read from Scientific American. The sun's magnetic poles are vanishing. And now I'm going to share with you a passage from the Bible. This is from Matthew 27, 50 through 54. I'm going to read to you the Young's literal translation. Here we go. And Jesus, having again cried with a great voice, yielded the spirit. And lo, the veil of the sanctuary was rent in two from top unto bottom. And the earth did quake, and the rocks went rent. And the tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who have fallen asleep arose. And having come forth out of the tombs after his rising, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. And the centurion and those with him watching Jesus, having seen the earthquake and the things that were done, were exceedingly afraid, saying, truly, this was God's Son. Now, the different variations that you read, they're all very similar, but this is describing after Jesus' resurrection, others being raised from the dead as well. It's talking about zombies. Is it just a story? Is it metaphor? Is it real? Why did it happen? Could it have had something to do with the magnetic fields of the earth, most likely it was just an addition of an ancient story, like, I don't know, ghost story, something you would say over a campfire at nighttime to scare people, and then it was adopted into the biblical texts. This was shared with me yesterday. I had a great podcast with Dr. Kevin Hogan that will be available on Patreon and for his subscribers. And we talked for hours, but one of the things that was really fascinating was he brought up this passage in particular about the zombies in the Bible. And the first thing I thought of was, wait a second, zombies in the Bible. That reminds me of some of these fine print pieces that you read in large corporations that talk about how their operations of business would change if there was a zombie apocalypse. The fascination with zombies, series like The Walking Dead and all of the spin-offs of the Walking Dead series. It just seems to be there's a fascination with zombies. Why? I don't know. But did you know that there's also a grave of zombies that was discovered in Germany? You can read about this Newsweek. Archaeologists unearth grave of zombie ancients wanted buried forever. Archaeologists have discovered unusual burial in Germany, indicating that prehistoric people were afraid of the deceased returning to life. The burial can be described as a revenant grave. One of the archaeologists involved in the discovery told Newsweek such examples are sometimes referred to as zombie graves. Zombie graves. In the folklore of several ancient cultures, the term revenant refers to an individual who comes back from the dead as a spirit or animated corpse, sometimes to terrorize the living. Revenant graves have been found in various locations across Europe, dating back thousands of years. These burials are characterized by evidence of precautionary measures that are taken to prevent the dead from rising again, which include large stones placed on the legs of the deceased or bodies pierced with a lance that fixes them in the ground. The majority of these graves date to the Middle Ages, although some examples originate from prehistoric times as well. That's very interesting. So, in the village of Oppen, in the German state of Saxony-Anhalt, during rescue excavations conducted ahead of planned construction work related to an energy infrastructure project, an extremely interesting burial, which contained a man approximately 40 to 60 at the time of his death. The man was found in a crouched position with a large stone measured about 3.2 feet in length, 1.6 feet in width, lying over his legs. Archaeologists believe the stone must have been placed there to prevent him from rising again and coming back to life and haunting the living. Here's a quote. We know that already in the Stone Age, people were afraid of revenants. People wanted to prevent this with magic. Susan Frederick, an archaeologist with the State Office for Heritage Management and Archaeology of Saxony-Anhalt and project manager of the excavations, told Newsweek. Back then, people believed the dead people sometimes tried to free themselves from their graves. Sometimes the dead were laid on their stomachs. If the dead lies on his stomach, he burrows deep and deeper and deeper instead of reaching the surface, she said. Maybe, like, Haiti. In Haiti, there's a lot of resurrection magic and rituals that are performed to bring back the dead, and various other cultures from various places of the world. I remember seeing The Rainbow and the Serpent many years ago, where there was like this certain concoction of certain plants and toxins that somebody drank, and it put them into a state of, like, everybody thought that they were dead, they were buried, and then they came back after they woke up. That could be something that was performed many years ago. I mean, there's so many possibilities, but why the fascination and why so much dedication and attempts to prevent people from coming out of their graves? Is it just from folklore? I mean, were people just that scared, or did something happen to make them do that? And I believe something happened, whether or not it's the return of the Walking Dead, something happened significant enough to make them spend the time, effort, and resources in hopes of preventing these zombies coming out of the ground. Very interesting. So we've got zombie cemeteries, we've got zombies in biblical scriptures, we've got zombies referenced in various cultures. Zombies are like the thing in modern day. Just I don't know why it's so fun to watch zombies on TV, but obviously it is for many. What's going on? The zombie apocalypse has entered us. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day. Hit that bell for all notifications. Check us out on Patreon. You can be a Patreon for as little as $1. And we're going to offer some new opportunities for our Patreon members. We're going to be doing a lot of tours this year, secret locations and off the path locations that people really don't know how to get to unless they know they're there. I will even help get you there in the Jeep Rubicon. So if you don't have a 4-wheel drive, that's an option for you. So if you're interested in joining us for the Petroglyph Tour coming up in Crow Canyon, which is going to be on the 26th, the Diamond and myself, send me an email, leakproject@gmail.com. I've also got the link you can click on to get tickets. There's a few left. It's not going to be a huge event. It's going to be a pretty small event. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be kind of tough to get out there, though, so make sure you've got a high clearance vehicle. We do have trucks, so if we need to pull you out, it won't be a big deal. Bring your cameras, and let's rock and roll, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Be the change you want to see.